Hi. Okay, so I haven't had an actual video that was any kind of project in a while. So what I've decided is to take you out here to my shed and show you my new solar charging shed lights. My shed is not connected to the power grid, so therefore I wanted to do a little solar project to kind of get experience with it and basically run some lights in my shed without worrying about the battery draining and not having power. So just go ahead and take you on in. After I tell you, that is a solar panel right there. That is 18.5 volts and 5.5 watts. It was pretty cheap. I got it on eBay for $18. Okay, so now we're inside the shed. Excuse the mess. Okay, so I've learned a lot about solar over the last week. And first thing I want to show you is the little digital readout thing. This is a digital voltmeter, and it's not going to stay there, but it is on there for right now. And because the sun is kind of behind those trees, that's okay. I'll get to that in a minute. But the sun is actually fading out of the solar panel power window, and you can see that we're kind of losing juice. But that's okay, because the little box underneath the digital multimeter, this guy, is a solar battery charger controller. And what that does is it takes the power from the solar panel and directs it to the battery if there's enough power available to actually charge the battery. And because the controller is the one that does everything, it also says if the battery doesn't have enough power, it won't run the load. The load in our case is going to be the shed lights, which I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so this all works. I can show you. All right. Now there's 10 of these little strip lights. They eat, oh, I would say nothing as far as power goes, so really not a big deal. And this whole thing I have going to a, you guessed it, car battery. Not the best choice, but it will do the job. And it will be replaced in the future with probably an AGM motorcycle cell. And that motorcycle cell can sit right up here, and the whole thing will be kind of out of the way when you come in the door. The other thing I did for testing purposes, although it might stay, it might not stay, is I got a 300 watt power inverter. This is a pretty old one, but it still does the job. 300 watt Jensen power inverter. When I bought this, let's see, how many years ago did I buy that? Oh, this might have been 1998, 2000, I don't know, but it was 80 bucks. Now they're cheap. So anyway, the light switch runs the lights, and the power switch on the inverter, which isn't connected right now because I got to go solder something. The inverter plugs into a socket that connects to the battery, which I'm going to go solder so it works. I thought I was going to show that to you, but I took it off and brought it in the house. Anyway, it does work, and when you turn on the inverter, it runs this little fan over here. So I think what I'll do is I'll go get the inverter because it's not very far away. I think I just left it right over here outside the shed. I did. So we'll go ahead and hook that up, and then you can see what it is. And then I can be done with this video, and I don't have to go back and do anything over again. And that'd be awesome. I hear something. That must mean somebody's coming. I gotta do this quick before anybody gets here. Oh my God. No! No, just kidding around. Okay. So, power to the inverter. There's a switch back down in here. You can't really see it very well, but it's in there. Turn that on. You should be able to hear the thing running. Okay, you can see the light, and you can see and hear the fans running. So I can run the fan and the lights in my shed with no power grid connection. And the reason why this works pretty good with such a small solar panel is because all the energy that we get daily goes into the battery that we have for the system. Now, this system, like I said, is an experiment, and yes, those are gas tanks. They're pretty much empty, and I don't really worry about sparks too much because all that's got to move. I get that. Don't show anybody that stuff. Okay. There's no sparks in here, but there's also very little power. All this stuff runs on 12 volt DC, except for the wall wart, for the fan, which is weird because the fan is actually a 12 volt DC fan, and the wall wart's converting the power from the battery back to DC. So when we run the inverter, it goes from the battery to the inverter, which is DC to AC, and then from AC to DC, so we can run battery operated fan, which I have hooked on electric power. So anyway, we don't have a whole lot of power in here, but we don't need a whole lot of power in here. This is a very little amount of power. So this battery has cold cranking amps of 575. It has 715 amps total. Its reserve capacity is 130. You probably can't see that, and that's okay. This battery is from AutoZone, and it's a piece of junk. It died in my father-in-law's car, and we had to replace it. So I recharged it. I'm using it in here. I'll get something else later and take care of it, but for right now it's good enough. So 715 amps. When I'm drawing less than a half an amp is, I don't know, 1,400 and something hours I can run all this stuff on without worrying about power. And every day the sun through this area gets about, no, I don't know, somewhere between 8:30 to about now 1:30 or 12:30 power. So let's say 4 hours. It's plenty of power to recharge the battery up to the level. And this morning, this little indicator here, this battery level thing, it tells you how much it's charging or drawing. I can't really tell which one that is, but when it gets to the battery up to the float level, this light, this last light here, blinks real fast, and these two lights go out, and then that tells you that the battery is at the full charge. And once it goes out completely, the controller determined that the battery's fine and it's fully charged. Doesn't matter if the solar panel's kicking in power or not, it just shuts it down. So that's it. And thanks a lot for watching. I hope to get some more videos for you later about little other projects that'll help around the